What's up, everybody? I'm Wayward Jessica, and this is Not Your Safe Zone. How y'all doing tonight? Y'all want to hear about my day? I really don't care. So my day was insane. First, I went ahead, I woke up, almost got one kid to school late. Went to the ATM. The ATM ate my fucking card. Ate my card. So I had to drop the other kids off at school. I went back to the bank so that they could get my card out the ATM. They couldn't do it. So I had to order a whole nother card. So I'm like, fuck it. Okay, I'm going to go to the laundromat, do laundry. Went ahead, did laundry. And as soon as I bring everything to my car, we get a massive thunderstorm. Like, I mean, the sky got pitch black. And that was just this morning. But that has absolutely nothing compared to what Black men in today's society go through. So tonight we are discussing Black men in a box and the societal pressures that they face. And tonight, boy, we got a treat for y'all. So let's drop this intro real quick and let's get it.
Why didn't you listen to me?
You know I'm coming for your plate, dog. You shoulda knew you wasn't safe, dog. You know I'm coming for your plate, dog. You shoulda knew you wasn't safe, dog.
All right. So I don't know if y'all know who's finna come on tonight. I mean, you might have heard of him on TikTok. You might have seen him on this podcast before. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, you ain't ready for this shit. So first, we are going to introduce our panelists. First off, we have my little brother, Good News, Tyler. How you doing, bruh?
What's poppin', everybody? Doing good. Happy to be here. Happy to get into this conversation with some, Black men and Queen Jess, and just talk about the real. Don't hold back. So I'm super excited for this conversation.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Next up, we have the CEO of All the Smoke, Mr. Young Mark Fire. How you doing tonight?
What's going on, y'all? I'm good. You know what it is. Your boy Young Mark Fire, aka just Young Mark, social media activist, rapper, boxer, you name it, jack of all trades, man. I'm just here to, add my little 2 cents to the subjects, whatever topics that we touching on. As y'all know, I got no filter to begin with. They say this not your safe zone, so I'm just here to let the clip go.
Hey, that's what we here for tonight. That's what we here for. We don't censor ourselves here. We have my little brother, Kid Casper. How you doing, bruh?
I'm doing all right. What's going on, everybody? This is going to be a pretty dope conversation. Mix it up with some good people. So let's get it.
All right. And then last but not least, I mean, I don't think he's very well known on TikTok or on YouTube or anything. Like, I don't think y'all know about him. Mr. I Speak 1906, aka Anthony Highland. How you doing tonight, sir? Yeah, I said that.
Buckle up. Let's talk about it.
No more screaming.
Relax.
Was that Kylie?
Yeah. Hey, she's ready to buckle up. Hey, appreciate
she
y'all for
said,
having
you
me
gonna
on.
hear me.
Yeah, appreciate y'all for having me on. Activist, social media content creator. I wear a lot of hats, published author, spoken word recording artist, entrepreneur. I got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm just here for a good conversation, some good intellectual discourse. And as always, buckle up. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's get it. So all y'all here are artists, correct?
Big facts. Yes, correct, ma'am. Been an artist for 13 plus years.
I had an icebreaker plan, but I think this would be better. How about y'all give me Drop me your favorite bar real quick. Who want to start? We got intro music too. If y'all need a beat.
Oh no, shit. What's up? What's up? What's up? What we doing here? What we doing here?
All right, go ahead, Merc. You want to drop that beat? Drop that beat, Casper.
Doesn't work like that because then we won't be the way that like the system and everything works. He won't be able to rap over the beat if it's playing in the background. He could just spit a bar or something. But yeah, off the top, see how that goes.
Okay. Can you freestyle it?
All right, look. We could talk about white privilege, but I ain't even trying to get into that. Case of shit about the black oppression if you never had to experience that. They say make America great again. Get the fuck out of here because y'all know that it's whack. Now I talk about how they whitewash black history and get to the facts. I'm just out here living cold world. I'm just trying to stay alive in it. Out here trying to beat a system that's trying to put all the lights on the time limit. Feel like I can't ever leave the crib till my waistband got a 9 in it. Crazy living in the burbs and I still don't feel safe not to ride with it. What you forgot how they tortured, degraded, and call people niggas while whipping they back? What you forgot about lynching when people of color was supposed to go sit in the back? What you forgot about Wall Street when they massacred people just because they were black? Yeah, I know it's been 100 years and my people still never got justice for that. How the fuck would you feel every day feeling your life was under attack? Cops kill white, same rate as black people. Then tell me how you will react. Instead of trying to push a narrative, do some research and just look up the stats. All men were created equal. That's bullshit and y'all know that it's cap. Let's talk about it.
Woo! Ah, shit now.
No, look, he.
Who wanna follow that up? Who wanna follow that up? I'm gonna call somebody out. I'm gonna call somebody out. Tyler, you sitting there looking all shy. Come on, bro.
All right. I got this verse from my song "Stay True" where I said, "Growing up, I faced peer pressure. Who am I? It's what I always question. I was a zombie with no mind of my own. I just wanted to be another Lil Wayne clone. That's not what I was made for. Simply just to make money and be well known. God gave me a bigger purpose than that. I could rap about drug strippers in the trap. I'm not gonna do what's not true to me, especially with these kids listening to me different. It's my responsibility. I'd rather not act foolishly just to go viral on the internet. But how many lives would that affect? These kids watching everything we do, watching gangsters with guns, so they end up shooting too. Don't believe me? Just look at Lil Ronnie. I'm really praying for that young man sincerely. Stay true."
Hey, you trying to spit some facts?
Hey, big facts. Go on, talk that positive shit.
Period. Who want to go next? Casper or Ant? Which one? I will so pick. Casper. I'm so glad you volunteered, bro.
Oh no.
I'm so glad you volunteered.
I didn't actually.
My bad. But go ahead.
Oh, good Lord. You better watch how you approach me. I'm a case to a basket, so don't put me in a box unless you fit me for a casket. Go blind trying to cook me. In the pan, your boy's flashing. I leave a beat dead deceased. You can even see the maggots. I put the chilling villain's veins. I pull the derm out my nemesis's brains. Dragon scrolls light up like fluorescent bulbs. You aim below the belt. I'm in my bag for my family, cooking beats for my survival. So if you're coming from my tribe, I'm assuming you're suicidal. Delayed arrival. I was getting right with God while I get right with God. And deadening all my idols. Troubled mind, I was counseled by the mic in the Bible. They'll ask about the ice on my wrist that already melted. Ask the opposition about the heat, they already felt it. Y'all kind of put me on blast, but this is what I got right now. So
hey, welcome to my life, bro.
Look.
Welcome to my life.
I'm just trying to figure out when the fuck this gonna be on Spotify. That's all I want to know.
Hey, I'm incognito mode. We're not really doing that right now. But anyway.
I saw it, Eb. I saw it. Eb, why you moving out of the way, bro?
So I'm not a rapper.
Okay, well, give us a little something. Give us a little
but
something.
I got bars.
Give us bars, bro.
Go ahead.
So here we go. The question was asked: are black males truly the catalyst for the survival of these great institutions? I would argue this very point. How can we, as black males, be the catalyst for the survival of these great institutions if we ourselves are increasingly becoming non-existent? A recent study by the Department of Education explicitly states that black men make up 7.9% of 18 to 24-year-olds in America. However, black men only represent 2.8% of undergraduates. In addition, only 29% of black males are graduating from 6 years from HBCUs. Credible scholars argue that this is indeed due to a lack of positive male role models and the absence of the male in the home. Moreover, I contend a different reason. These young men were never taught how to properly utilize their bodies since birth. Here's why. They've never been taught how to stay ahead of the game, therefore they see all of the wrong things. They know right from wrong, yet they speak all of the wrong things out of their mouth, so the devil consistently taps their chin. They bear the weight of the world on their shoulders, designed to keep their back straight, their chest out to stomach the pain. But they waste time on things they don't need, like thighs and legs, and allow their ankles to support them so they consistently stay defeated. Ladies and gentlemen, our young men are trapped in a world where value systems are based on the latest fashions, social trends, and fictitious desire for immediate economic stability. Education seems to no longer be in the forefront of the minds of our youth, a world where young men are so wrapped up in social media but struggle to solve basic social problems. Can tell you about the new Jordan Gamma Blues but can't explain scientific gamma rays. Refer to themselves as real niggas instead of real men. And we wonder why the black male is increasingly becoming non-existent in the halls of these great institutions. And I'm gonna leave it there.
Damn. He just dropped the mic on the whole fucking thing. He just pretty much talks about what we finna talk about tonight. That was amazing. I appreciate y'all. So you know what? I'm gonna ask my icebreaker question because I just gotta know. Give me your 3 favorite cartoons you watched growing up.
Shit, man.
Let's go, Mark. Let's go.
Damn, favorite cartoons? Yeah, I mean, it really all just depends, like how far we want to go back. Like, I mean, I grew up in the era with, you know what I'm saying, the Transformers, you know, Thundercats, you know, it really just all depends.
I'm saying. I'm a 90s baby. So go as far back as you want. Go as far back as you want. Your 3 favorite ones growing up.
My three favorite ones growing up. All right. We definitely got to throw Ed Nettie up in there. That's definitely, you know what I'm saying, top of the list, you know what I'm saying, hands down. Proud Family, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Who didn't love the Proud Family? And definitely Transformers, man. Like, I'm talking like old school Transformers, like back in the day, back when the graphics was trash Transformers, not this new age stuff.
He said Autobots roll out. All right, you need to change your name to Optimus Prime for the rest of the podcast.
I'm gonna say Power Rangers, the original Power Rangers.
Facts.
For
Teenage
real.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hold on. The cartoon, the movies,
the original. I'm talking about Tommy. I'm talking about Trini. I'm talking about Kimberly.
No. I'm talking about TMNT.
Oh, you talking about
they got
animated cartoons?
Yeah, they got
on,
like 10 different kinds of animated TMNT.
All right, so I'm gonna give you Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Tom and Jerry, the definition of on site. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna have to give you Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you did not grow up in the 90s if you did not want an Acme anvil or Acme hammer or some shit like that. You just didn't. Like, look, physical violence, like that.
They was the definition of on site.
For real.
Boys and elbows.
For real. All right, what about y'all? Casper, Tyler, what y'all got?
I'm surprised and I'm disappointed in both my fellow kings that nobody said Static Shock. Unfortunately, nobody said Static Shock. That was that show. If we have to go with, I'll throw in a classic real quick. As far as a cartoon, I was big on Foster's Homes for Imaginary Friends. I know I'm born in '94. My apologies. And then
I'm born in '92. No excuses.
I was about to say
my bad. I was born in '94. My bad. And for a curveball, actually, you know what? I have to go with the Rugrats. I like me the Rugrats. You know what I'm saying? The Rugrats was the classic.
Rugrats was the shit. Hold on. Am I the oldest person on this fucking podcast? Because I will shit. Merc,
nobody said that. You did. You said that. Nobody else said that.
I'm 29, so
I'm fucking done. Anyway, I'm the oldest person here. I'm the
youngest. I'm the youngest. So,
Hey, shit, but you know what they say? Black don't crack,
Black
baby.
don't crack. Hey.
Black don't crack, baby.
Literally.
Son.
Tyler, what
Yeah.
you got for me? What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Yeah. So I also was born in '92, so I grew up in my opinion, and people can find me on this, but the best era for cartoons, as far as Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, we had the best cartoons. So I'm gonna have to throw out there and go with Hey Arnold. Definitely loved Hey Arnold growing up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to definitely go with like my brother Casper said, Rugrats. I was a big Rugrats fanatic. Chucky was always my favorite character for some reason. I don't know why, but Chucky was my favorite character. And then I'm gonna have to go with Doug. I think Doug is a classic. You know what I'm saying? So,
Can we
Chucky was the only motherfucker with self-preservation. That's
what
probably
I'm
why
saying.
he was
the smartest one.
Hey,
Can we all agree that? Can we all agree that Skeeter was black though, right?
Facts.
Oh yeah,
big fact.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
That's not even. That's not even.
That ain't even up for debate.
I just got to make sure. I just didn't know who I'm working. Piccolo was black too, right? We need
Yes.
to make sure
Oh, yeah.
we're all
Absolutely.
right. Okay, cool.
And,
All right.
And so was Mr. Dinkle. That nigga was purple. He was black. Right? I don't care what no one say.
Bro, y'all just made me spray my phone screen. Stop playing with me.
Bro, I'm gonna spit my whole mic out, bro.
So I think for me, I'm definitely gonna have to go with Rugrats. But it was all about Tommy for me. Like I was like, yeah, let's get that shit. Thundercats
Facts.
and
I can rock with that.
Big facts.
And I would have to say, y'all gonna have to respect your elders on this, but
Uh-oh.
Our Real Monsters.
All real No.
Our Real Monsters.
No. What do you mean?
Yo, All Real Monsters was
That was
the
the
shit.
shit.
I don't care
It
what
was
no one
shit.
said.
I don't care what nobody
Holy
said.
shit.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm disappointed that all y'all ain't nobody throw rocket power out there. I'm just saying.
Yo, that was another choice for me. That was another choice for me.
She
Love
was
Rocket Power.
by saying top
Nobody
3,
said Static Shock though. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's just so many. Like I'm trying to think between the '90s, the early 2000s. It's so many eras of cartoons you can pick from.
Look, I was watching 80s reruns. Like, oh, come on now. Like, Static Shock. That shit feels like that came out when I was like in puberty, like going through puberty and shit. Like,
yeah, I'm like I don't remember being a 40 when that came out.
No,
like,
listen. We got to throw the Boondocks in there. You know, the Boondocks was the truth.
That's an anime though.
It's
an anime. That's an anime, and we weren't allowed to watch
It
that.
was still a cartoon.
What the fuck is an anime? It's a cartoon.
No.
It
Blasphemous.
is a
Don't ever say that
Japanese.
again.
It's a Japanese cartoon. I said what I said.
Anyway.
Anyhow, what?
if that's
He-Man
the case,
is
we
up
gotta
there
throw
too.
Avatar: The Last Airbender in there.
Facts. Hold on. I gotta ask. Who's your favorite character? And there is a wrong answer.
Aang.
Wrong
Aqua.
answer.
Aang was black.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
Aang
one.
had
I'll
4C hair. He was the only person that had 4C hair in that whole show. This man woke up from a coma and had that beat butt. I was loving it, every bit of it. You know what I'm saying?
Tyler Merck, did you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I ain't even gonna front. All I saw was the movie. Like I can't cap. I'm sorry. I just can't cap.
No.
I'm one of them people that I lie to you, and then you put me on the spot and ask me who was my favorite character, and then I'm gonna be sitting here looking like, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna cap with you. Like, yeah, I didn't get into it like that, but I did watch the movie. The movie was dope.
I'm just so upset. I look up
I'm sorry,
so
y'all.
much.
Look here. I know. If I gotta hold this L alone, hey, so be it. I'm sorry.
Hey, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and say I saw a few episodes. I'm not gonna say I was a fan like that because I think that would be disrespectful to the people that actually kept up with it. I did see a few episodes though, so I'm just gonna say that I wasn't a huge fanatic, but it was a good cartoon. I'll say that.
Both y'all fired. Y'all got to redeem yourselves with this conversation.
I think
I'm
Prince
telling you.
Prince Zuko had the best glow up.
He had the best redemption arc, but Toph, bro. Toph.
Hey, Toph is dangerous, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Toph out here
She literally created her own bending.
But my favorite's still Appa though. No cap. My favorite's still Appa. Without
mean,
Appa, that show wouldn't be moving.
I mean, like if Appa dies, I die. That's just how it goes.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
But let's get into this conversation.
I just wanted Aang to get braids. That was it. I just wanted Aang to pop out in Avatar state and just get some box braids. I was waiting for it.
I am so sick of your ass. He ain't never gonna get braids. Come on now. So let's get into this conversation. So we all know that the episode is named Black Men in a Box. Why don't y'all tell me what you think when you hear that title? What do you think of when you hear Black Men in a Box? Who want to go first?
I think what I hear when I hear Black Men in a Box, it's kind of twofold for me, especially as an activist. Of course, immediately I think death. You know what I'm saying? All of the Black men, unarmed Black men that are unjustly killed. And then I think metaphorically in the sense of the box that they put us into in terms of what we can be interested in, how we our dialogue, you know what I mean? The whole idea of like talking white, so to speak, if you exhibit or exude any amount of intelligence, as well as the intimidation factor that comes along with engaging in dialogue with an intelligent Black man, that insecurities begin to arise from individuals to whereby you start to feel as though, and I know I felt this over the course of my life, one of the things I used to do is literally read the dictionary. As an artist, one of the things that assisted me in my artistry is my expansive vocabulary, because I wanted to be able to say things without saying them all the way to make you think, you know what I'm saying? To whereby if you have someone, I don't want to say of limited intelligence, because I feel like that's disrespectful. I would just say they aren't on the same level in terms of vocabulary as you. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you utilize that speech to demean, diminish, or degrade people, that is when it becomes a problem. So you have people who feel internal inferior complexes or thought processes, that they start to push that off on you to the point where you feel like you have to diminish or downplay your own self for their comfort.
Yeah, it's almost like no matter what you do, if you are the quote unquote stereotypical Black, you know, if you got a hoodie on, you sag your jeans, you know, you rap a lyric or anything like that, you're a threat. But then on the other side of the coin, if you go ahead and you are intelligent and well-spoken, or as you said, talk white, and you speak that in front of somebody who's non-Black, or somebody who isn't, you know, for the cause or anything like that, they automatically get intimidated. That also is a threat, just in a different sense. And am I getting that right?
You hit the nail right on the head.
Awesome. Casper, Tyler, Merk, what y'all think when you hear the title Black Men in a Box?
All right, well, me personally, like, I got a lot of, I mean, basically everything my brother just said, like, down straight to a T. Just to give y'all a little bit of background on me, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, 69th and Claremont, all the way from 75th and King Drive. I got a couple family members who stay in the Wild Hunnets, and yeah, basically, like, I went to school in pretty much the hood my entire life. Like, I never knew anything outside of basically the 5-6 blocks and downtown Chicago. That was pretty much all I knew growing up. And basically, by the time I moved up to high school, I was still staying out in the city, and I was about to go to South Shore High School. And for anybody who know about that school, that's like not one of the greatest schools, like by any means, especially in the city of Chicago. So I ended up moving with my grandma out to the burbs, and she basically put me in a school. It's called Wheat North, predominantly white school. It's like arguably like one of the top 5 schools in Illinois. And the crazy part was, I thought the way that I was living, like out in the hood, like I thought like that was the normal way of life. Like, this is just how Black people live. And when I come out to the suburbs, I'm like, wait a second. It's a whole nother way of life out here. And I'm not talking about just living situations. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, with culture, with the way they do things, the way they schools, like everything is completely different. It's a whole new life out here.
It's
So
like a whole different world.
Exactly. So I end up finding myself like now that I'm going to school, I went from going to school with predominantly all black kids to now I'm at a school with predominantly all white kids. It's like it was a real big struggle for me growing up because it's like I felt either, you know what I'm saying? It's like you feel that divide. It's like either you feel like you too black for the white kids or you feel like you too white for the black kids. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? I always found myself like in this bit of a struggle growing up. And it's like people like they kind of put you into this box. So I found myself like unintentionally knowing, like I found myself like downplaying my blackness just a little bit for the fact that I wanted to make other white people feel comfortable because that's primarily what I was around. So like, yeah, so it's definitely, we have these stigmas and these stereotypes that definitely need to be broken. And that's really a big reason why I do a lot of the stuff I do today. Hearing stuff like growing up, like, oh, you really intelligent for a black man, or you very articulate for a black man. Usually I don't hang around too many black people, but you're cool. Like it's all these microaggressions, these undertones. These are things that most black people that grow up in white neighborhoods or in white areas, they don't know to look out for. But I literally experienced that my whole entire life. So I could speak to it to a T. But like I said, what my brother Ant said was like, he hit the nail on the head. Perfect.
Hey, Merk, did you deal with the whole in the hood, you know, the class clown is the one that's like revered, and then like the bookworm, so to speak, is the one that's like exiled, whereby in the burbs, it's the complete opposite?
Facts. Big facts. 110%, bro. I mean, like, yeah. Go ahead,
I
bro.
remember that. And I want to tell the story real quick. I remember I had just went to private school. I was in Maryland, right? And again, predominantly white. I'm coming straight from the hood in Philly, you know what I'm saying? And there was a guy that made a joke during the class time. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, they about to rally around, oh boy, because you know me, big words, always raising my hand, wanting to, you know, participate.
Right.
You know, they're like, oh, we got a teacher's pet, blah, blah, blah. Whereby he made the joke, and they was like, the girl turned around and she literally said, how dare you joke during instructional time? And everybody rallied around her. And I'm looking like, what is this?
Right.
Yeah, I definitely identify with what you were saying with going to PWIs and having to feeling like you had to kind of like play down your blackness for the comfort of everybody around you, and you were too black for the white people and you were too white for the black people. I definitely understand that like out of place feeling. Like for me personally, like in the black community that I grew up around, I was always considered black. I was never considered mixed or anything like that. They may fuck around and call me a light bright, which I am. But
black, he said.
look, I know I'm a light bright, but I'm, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still black, and that's how I was treated. Whereas some other people, you know, they don't get treated like that. Or we see on TikTok, you know, if you don't act a certain way or you don't look a certain way, you're not black. So I definitely resonate with what you said there for sure. Tyler, Casper, what y'all got for me? What do you think when you hear black men in a box?
So I touched on this yesterday on my podcast where I was talking about, I did a video last year. It was like in the, you know, the heat of like the protests and everything during Black Lives Matter. And I talked about how I would suppress myself, and I related to the barrel of laughs that they used to have on the plantation, and even, you know, in society well after, you know, slavery was abolished, how black people had to shove their heads in a barrel, which, you know, sometimes were filled or sometimes not filled with water, and you had to laugh, you had to cry, you couldn't show emotions, you couldn't, you know, show humanistic qualities that everybody should be afforded to share, to not make white people feel uncomfortable. There became a point for me where I would have to suppress and denounce, not so much have to, this was a choice, as a coping mechanism. I would suppress and denounce my own blackness as a way of not having to deal with rejection, because I didn't, you know, listen to all the songs everybody listens to. I don't play all the sports everybody wants me to play. I don't watch all the things everybody wants me to watch. Growing up, I did not watch The Wire necessarily, not until I hit my much later teens or adulthood. But that, you know, living in Baltimore, it apparently is frowned upon. But just like little stuff like that. And then when you're dealing with operating in white spaces, you kind of go, well, speaking for myself, you go through this back and forth, this internal fight of should I assimilate to whiteness and be the stereotypical black person that they, they built for me? You know what I'm saying? As James Baldwin says, the American Negro, or should I be the palatable black person that assimilates to whiteness, that is educated, insightful, can pontificate his point to the point that it doesn't make white people shiver and everything like that. So I would say it's a daily thing, especially as black men, because we are looked at as the most dangerous figure in society. But I feel like we're under attack in so many different ways that it's the seen things that we can point a finger to, and then it's the things that are unseen that are happening with it within. So that's what I think of.
Good point. Good
Definitely. I guess I never really thought of it that way, but it definitely makes sense. Tyler, what you got for me?
Yeah. So for me, I'm really new to my blackness. I'll just say that for those that don't know. For me discovering my blackness started when George Floyd got killed. And then from there, I've been really digging into black culture, black history, and really finding out who I am as a black person. And I think that's for a lot of people, because for me, I grew up in, elementary, kindergarten throughout elementary to middle school. I went to all white school where I was like one of maybe 3 black kids in the whole school. Rest of the school was all white. So naturally, you're going to adapt to your environment. So naturally, I adapted to whiteness without it really even realizing it, just by the people I was associated with. And then when I got to middle school, I started going to an all Mexican school. And for me, I'm part black, part Mexican. So for me, that was cool. That was cool with me. I didn't really see a problem with that. But for me personally, when I hear putting black men in a box, to me, it sounds like control. It sounds like you want to give us this image and say, you have to be this, otherwise you're not a black man. And to me, that's very, very, it's very, very dehumanizing to say, if you're going to be black, you have to be like this. It's like, the brother speak earlier, how he was saying, if you talk proper as a black man, you're looked at as, oh, you're trying to be white. When it's like, who created that narrative? Well, white people created that narrative where, oh, we can sound intelligent, but y'all gotta, talk with, and don't get me wrong, I talk with slurs sometimes, and I use different kind of language at times, but at the same time, I love to pronounce my words. I love to say the whole word, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when growing up, when I would talk like that, my black friends would be like, yo, why are you talking like that? You ain't talking black. And I didn't really understand it at the time, but it's another thing that white supremacy has placed on us and said, this is what you have to be according to us. And I don't think that doesn't come from our culture. That doesn't come from us at all. That's something that's been placed on us. So for me personally, it's this stereotype of, you got to wear this, you got to speak like this, you got to look like this. Your only hopes in life is to either rap a lyric or dribble a ball. And it's like, but there's no other options for us. And it's like, but that's so whack to me. It's like, not every black person comes from the hood, but yet somehow society thinks all black people are in the ghetto or the projects, right? This word ghetto is.
I just want to touch on something that you said. So like, when you said that a lot of this came from your black friends, that you weren't talking black and stuff like that.
Right.
I want to get everybody's opinion. Eb, I see your question. We're gonna get to it, babe. I see it. So my question is this: do you feel like it wasn't just white supremacy or white people or non-black people that put black men in this box, that puts it, like, gives these societal pressures? Do you feel like there are equally or more societal pressures coming from the black community itself?
Absolutely. I believe it is, because, a lot of times we do it to ourselves, us as black people. And it's because we're still in that brainwashed mentality of, we think that everyone has to be like this if they're black. And it's like we haven't really escaped that. I think it's starting to happen. I think Black people are finally starting to realize we don't have to be ghetto, we don't have to be hood, we don't have to be this, we don't have to be that. But I think it's a process. And yeah, absolutely. I do think that we put ourselves in a box because even when I tried, like when I started hanging out with Black people more, I thought I had to act ghetto, quote unquote, right? Or I had to act hood to fit in with them. But it's like, no, a lot of them were like, you know, we're into like anime and into like heavy metal rock music, like into stuff that doesn't fit blackness, right? And it's like when I saw that, I realized like, wow, you know, blackness is not this box that we create. You know, blackness is a culture. It's diverse. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole rock thing. I've said it before. Like when people like find out I like rock music and they're like, oh, you into that white people music, and it's like you do know that rock music was created by Black people, right? You do know that we started this, right? But it's been colonized and taken from us and then created to be white. So it's like all that kind of stuff is stuff we have to break down and decolonize and, you know, get rid of because it's really, really destructive.
Just so we're clear, the question was, do we believe that the Black community puts Black men in more of a societal box than white
No.
supremacists?
No. So my question was, do y'all feel equal to or more? I mean, I can't speak for y'all. I'm an outsider looking in. Societal pressures from the Black community as much as non-Black society.
So I have an interesting take at this. So we have to one identify and be able to say that this in itself, when people say Black is this, is white supremacy, because Black wouldn't have existed if not for whiteness, because, you know, white is a mutation, everything like that. We already know that. So it wasn't until imperialism, the Industrial Revolution, we talk about the concept of race was invented by white people. So when we talk about like these boxes that Black men get put into, regardless if our own community is speaking it, other POC communities are speaking it, or it's white people speaking it, it's still the fruit from the same tree, which is white supremacy. I don't think that we do it more than necessarily the white community, or just, you know, people that, you know, willingly participate in white supremacy, because in itself, it's still white supremacy. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Because I was trying to follow what he was saying. And I think sometimes what happens is we get caught up in our own anecdotal experiences and we try to apply it to the whole. And that's exactly where I was about to go, because without that social construct in and of itself, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So that in and of itself, when we look and break down the barriers or the boxes, so to speak, that we're put in and or that we're held to, it's all in proximity to whiteness. It's all in proximity to what is the Eurocentric standard in that regard. So the individuals peddling these mindsets, just like he said, the whole thing about rock, it's interesting when you have more diverse experiences with people outside of your community that you start to realize that Black people do like rock music. I listen to a lot of classical music, you know, again, my own thought process of, oh, I mean, most of us listen to hip hop, you know what I'm saying, R&B, stuff like that. And then I started having more diverse experiences, traveling more, meeting different Black people from not just the United States, but traveling outside of the United States and getting that kind of like worldview of us. Because I think sometimes we put our own selves into like this marginalized way of thinking because we don't know anything outside of our norm. So in this regard, when you travel more, when you meet more people, you have more diverse experiences, you start to realize that there are more people that are like you than not like you. For example, the anime community. There are so many people that are just like, oh, y'all didn't like me. Y'all said I was weird. Yeah, they probably did, but there were still kids that did like anime. They just weren't as vocal. You know what I'm saying? And then when you have those experiences, you start to realize that you got more in common with some of the people that you thought you didn't, that you actually do.
And I think what that is also is that's why, like, it's funny, like the opening verse I spoke was if you how did I say it again? So if you put me, if you want to put me in a box, you better fit me for a casket. I personally rather die as a black man than to have somebody tell me again, this is what you need to conform to. This is what you need to assimilate to.
Right.
Because it is in itself somebody telling you not to be who you are, who God created to be, whatever your personality, aspirations, your dreams, things you take interest in. That is more painful than death. So that's why I don't really get caught up in this whole, oh, you got to be like this if you want to be black and everything like that. I think when we police each other's blackness, it does more damage than it actually does good.
Oh no, 100%. And I actually like thoroughly believe like, yeah, the Willie Lynch syndrome is definitely real. I mean, let's just get that out the way. Willie Lynch is
Say that again.
It's
Say
a very
that again because I don't think enough people fucking know about it. Say it again
Well-
one more time, please.
the Willie Lynch syndrome, that's some real shit, and it is a real thing, and it's definitely something that we still need to work on today as a black community as a whole. Like, that's like, let's just get that out the way. That's definitely one problem that we got to work on. And I definitely feel like there's this stigma, like everybody touched on it, like down to a T. Like, this is just like my take on it. Like how we say, like, you know, we get put into this box, like a black man is supposed to be this, he's supposed to be that. You know, people have their own perception of what they feel of what a black man is supposed to be. But however, when you get black men like us that's articulate, that can speak our thoughts, that we can be punctual, we can say things in a certain way that'll make people think. And you know, most people, they would consider us intelligent, but when you talk to like people like white conservatives or white Republicans, they'll still think that we're intelligent, however, just not to their liking or to their standards, because we don't preach the same ideology that they do. However, they'll speak against us. They'll go out of our way to try to downplay our blackness and then compare us to somebody like a Ben Carson, Candace Owens, or Herschel Walker. Why don't you be more like these black people?
I was just about to say, they go out of their way
here's the thing,
to find their palatable black person.
Exactly. And these are the same type of people that have the fucking caucasity to try to quote Dr. Martin Luther King when he say, oh, it's not all, we need to judge people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing, at the same time, y'all like to put black people in a box when y'all feel it's okay. If we don't conform to y'all beliefs, if we don't preach y'all ideology, then we ignorant, we arrogant, we unintelligent. We need to get more educated. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's really just there's no winning at this topic sometimes. So yeah, y'all all touched on it perfectly, but that's just like my little take.
I think to bring it full circle, I think the biggest war that we have here is the unapologetic blackness and the proximity to whiteness to either assimilate or to survive, right?
Back.
So we have those of us that, oh, I'm black and I'm proud. I know my lineage, I know my background. So when I state certain things, I said it and I mean it. Then you have those that, you know, like I said, from my own experience, one of my favorite poems is Our Deepest Fear, right? And my favorite part of that poem says, your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others feel comfortable around you. And that's what we oftentimes find ourselves either doing or inadvertently being in the process of doing to make white people comfortable. However, when you push away from that and say, you know what? No, I'm going to be me regardless, 10 toes down. If you don't like it, sayonara. Most of us are not in a financial, most of us are not in a socioeconomic background to do that. So in this regard, our thought processes are solely based on how best can I keep that white man or that white woman happy so that I still have an opportunity, or so that I still have my income, so that my family is not displaced, or so that I can keep, you know, whatever I got going on, as opposed to, let me go ahead and start my own. Let me go ahead and build that foundation for my family so that my children ain't got to worry about that. Breaking that, I don't want to say generational curse, because I don't even like speaking that onto the atmosphere anymore. I think it's just a revolving cycle. Just a revolving cycle that you either break it in terms of stepping out of it, or you'll fall sometimes knowingly or unknowingly into that cycle, and you will continue it because of comfort. But sometimes we have to step outside of that comfort and say, you know what? No, I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go against the norm. I'm going to leave you with this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Don't go where the path may lead. Go instead where there's no path and leave a trail.
That part.
And
That
you know what's
part.
funny about that is Merck said it earlier when we were talking about how if you're not bootlicking, you're gonna get demonized anyway.
Pretty much.
Everybody oh yeah, I mean, like, we see that. I'm not the biggest fan of this woman personally, but Kamala Harris, you know what I'm saying? When they're talking nasty on her before she, got in with Biden and everything to the White House. Oh, she's black this, she's black this, she's bad that. First vice president we ever got. Oh, we can't reward her blackness now because she's West Indian. She's part Asian. So when it comes to incentivizing our blackness, they like to diminish it. They like to whitewash it. They like to water it down. But when it's time to maximize our blackness is when they're demonizing it. They're criminalizing us. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. And plus, I want to give Ben Carson these gifted hands personally. That's just me. That he's from my city. I met the man. He signed my book. I don't really care much for him, but that's besides the point.
Hey, listen, I know Herschel Walker was in the NFL, but he got to run me the fade. Him and his son.
Oh, his
thank
son,
God, bro.
I'm so sick of him. I'm so sick of him. He's just so.
Bro,
Okay.
he's so whitewashed in conservativeness, man. He can't even identify himself as gay. This man, I literally seen a video where this man literally refused to identify himself as gay just because he didn't want to disappoint his white conservative audience. It's crazy.
Look, and I
That's
can't even
wild.
I can't even say that he in the sunken place.
Nah.
Because you had to realize you were black at some
they
point
choose- and
to
see,
be
that's
in the sunken place.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we got to recognize that these individuals choose to do this. They choose. Now, there's a huge difference between, and I think, Tyler, I think you hit on this earlier, and I kind of want you to expand upon your experience a little bit because I definitely think that it's necessary. There's a difference between growing up in an environment that's foreign to what the normal experience is versus choosing to demonize your community for the sake of closeness to whiteness. I think there's a huge difference, and I don't think we discussed that enough. So, Tyler, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that in terms of expand. Because I'm not gonna lie, bro. When you start talking, I was like, "What the hell?"
There's a huge difference
between think about it,
between
like that's your experience, and I can't downplay that because you know what I'm saying. That's what you've been through. You know what I'm saying. So I would definitely like to hear you expound on that.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between ignorance and willful ignorance. For sure. Tyler, you want to go ahead and expand a little bit, please?
Yeah. So just so I'm clear, speak. What exactly is the question? Just so I'm clear on it.
Like talking about your experience, like in terms of like, because you was talking about how like the normal things that black people do. Sometimes people try to put you into that box with like the rock music and stuff like that. And like what your experience was with that, like kind of, because you said the statement that you made was that I'm new to my blackness. And I think that there are a lot of people that are in that space. And I kind of wanted you to expound upon that a little bit, because I know for me, being so unapologetic, I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm so like, I'm black, nigga.
Yeah, no, yeah. So when I say I'm new to my blackness, what I'm really saying is that throughout my life, I never recognized myself as a black man. I never really identified as a black man. I was just kind of like, oh, I'm another person, right? I was kind of like those people that say, I don't see color. I just think that everyone's, a person or whatever. But it's like, but to not see color means you don't care enough to see what people go through. You know what I'm saying? Like us as black men, every time we walk out the house, whether we realize it or not, like we have the possibility of ending up in a dangerous situation, whether it be from the cops, whether it be from some racist white supremacist person or whatever, right? And it's like, but we've seen obviously police brutality is a very bad thing, and it's been something that's been in our community for a long time. It's just that now it's being broadcasted on social media. It's being captured by everyone that got a cell phone. It's not that it's not been here. It's just that, the first recorded police brutality beating of a black man, I believe, was Rodney King, and that's just because someone had a camcorder. But people didn't have cell phones back then. So it's like they couldn't capture those things. But it's like, for me, that's why when people say I don't see color, I'm like, no, that's a problem. And they're like, why is it a problem? And I'm like, because what you're saying is you don't see me as a black man, therefore you don't care about the troubles, the oppression that I go through in this country. So when I tell people it's not right to say I don't see color. you know. And when people want to pull out the all lives matter, I'm saying, well, that's just a racist counter argument to Black Lives Matter. That's saying you don't want to hear about where we're going through. You're just like, all lives matter, right? So like for me, growing up, I just didn't identify as a Black man. I was just like, I'm just another person. But what I had to realize is, yes, I'm a Black man and I need to be proud of that, you know, because Black is beautiful, Black is powerful, Black is all these things. And for us as Black people, like we invent cool, you know what I mean? We shift culture, we do these things. And it's like, and white people follow suit. They want to take our culture and make it their own, but yet they don't want to be Black. They just want to take our futures, they want to take our music, they want to take the way we dress, and they want to be that, you know, they want to love hip hop, they want to love this, they want to love that, but they don't want to be Black like that, you know what I'm saying? Because they'd have to go through our oppression and everything, and obviously they can't because white, you know, white privilege and everything. But at the end of the day, for me, growing up, like since I did have white best friends and since I did grow up around a lot of white people, I just never really took time to look into who am I as a Black man. You know, what leaders came before me, you know, such as Malcolm X, such as Harriet Tubman, such as Martin Luther King. You know, what did they do for me to have the, you know, quote unquote freedoms? I mean, we do have freedoms, but, you know, to a certain extent. What did they do to pave the way for us to be doing what we're doing now? You know, be standing up for Black Lives Matter, to be speaking out against police brutality, speaking out against all these things. You know, what did they do for us, you know, to pave the way for us to do these things? So for me, it was just really like, I just never was like, I'm a Black man. That's all it really was, you know. And you know, like when my Black friends would tell me with the rock thing, oh, you shouldn't be listening to that because that's white people music. To me, that built up some insecurities within me. And I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be listening to this, you know, it's white people music, you know that. But that was like peer pressure, you know, when I went through high school and everything. That was more a peer pressure thing. But no, to this day, I still love rock music. You know, I listen to all music. You know, I do these things, and that doesn't make me white, or that doesn't make me any less Black. And I think that's something that Black people, you know, has been given to us from white supremacy, from you know, white people, and we continue to demonize people with that, or we continue to downplay people with that when we say, oh, you're not Black if you listen to this music, you're not Black if you speak intelligently. And it's like, no, you know, obviously you don't know what it's like to be Black. You know, every time I hear someone, yeah,
it's basically like they want our expression but not our oppression.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it comes down to. And
say that
I mean, they want to be Black until it's time to be Black.
I always say that.
I definitely understand what Tyler was saying, as far as like, because for me, like, if anybody who's been watching, like y'all know, I didn't know I was Black until I was like 12. I didn't know. And then all of a sudden I found out, you know, I found out that I had Black siblings and a Black father, and met all of my siblings and everything like that. And that was my introduction to Blackness. Before that, I was just like my mom. I was just like my stepdad. So it's, I mean, and I think that's also really damaging. Like, our kids have to know what they're like, who they are and what they are, because even though like your parents might not see color. I mean, if you don't see color, how the fuck you stop at a traffic light? But I digress.
You know what that is, though? When people say they don't see color, that means that they have to confront, like, especially when it comes to Black people, I don't see color. So that means I don't want to have to confront and combat the anti-Blackness within me that may be causing you said harm. But I don't see color.
I want my child to assimilate to whiteness. I want my child to be like me.
I don't see color, but I don't want my kid to know that when they get dark in the sun, I slightly think that they're more ugly. That's my anti-Blackness.
Literally.
I think also too, I think it is very vitally important, especially to the conversation, to acknowledge that we do have a bit of what I call an extradition mindset sometimes, where we will essentially excommunicate certain Black people out of the community because of their interests and or because of how they may talk or the amount of friends that they have that are white or stuff like that. I think it is very important to add that context to the conversation because it is a very real thing. And you have people who will literally tell you you could be the darkest of all dark, beautiful melanin, and they will tell you that you're not black. You could be the lightest of all light, and they will tell you that you're not black because of these individual nuanced things that they feel as though you don't fit the mold of. And I do think it's important to acknowledge that over the course of this conversation as well.
And I'm going to give my 2 cents on that real quick before I ask the next question, which actually has something to do with that. To me, that is internalized anti-blackness. Saying my black has to look like your black is internalized anti-blackness because black doesn't look like anything. If we're the Eve gene, if we're their blueprint, if we are the start of all life on this earth, why the fuck we got to look alike? Why the fuck we got to, think alike? We're not a monolith. We keep telling white people that we're not a monolith, but why do you expect us, like in our own community, to be monolithic? That's just not how it works.
Right. That's why that Willie Lynch right there. Yep.
Exactly. And that actually leads into my next question is, do you feel like Black men as a collective over the years have essentially put themselves in boxes due to societal pressures and everything like that? For instance, like you were saying, like, the type of things that your interests, and stuff like that. Do you think that Black men did that, do that to themselves as a whole as well?
I'm gonna say from my perspective, no. I feel like for a very long period of time, there's a great portion of us that grow up in survival mode. I remember the first time somebody made a statement to me that there's a huge difference between those that were raised on survival and those that were raised on love. And it was such a gut-wrenching statement to me to put into perspective as an older Black man, as opposed to because I heard it when I was in college. And I really had to internalize it and really think about it, because those of us that quote unquote grew up in the hood, a lot of our experiences are not that of our private school brothers and sisters, our suburban brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters that may have grew up in upper middle class or wealthy homes. And I think that when we begin to demystify and destigmatize the idea that we have to grow up in poverty, then we'll start to break down some of those barriers that people start to feel as though you have to fit this specific mold. Because from my experience, most of us are trying to break from what society says that we need to be, that we ought to be, try to provide a better, life for our family, grinding to get, moms, that new crib, or, if pops is around, and more fathers are around than people say. Let's be very clear about that, especially in our households. Single does not mean that the male is not present. Single just means not married. Let's be very clear about that.
Can you say that again?
Yeah.
Somebody is asleep in the fucking back and they didn't hear you.
Yeah,
say it again.
Single just means not married. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like oftentimes we misconstrue the data, and we don't adequately represent the full understanding of what that is. So many of us are in that survival mode to whereby we feel as though that we have to consistently grind. We have to consistently do this, do that, and fit these specific, it's almost like code switching. We do it for survival. Many of us might not want to do it, but we know around specific audiences that certain behaviors are just not socially acceptable. Until you control your cash flow in terms of your check coming in and out, and either you signing it or you knowing the person that signs it, in the sense of it not being someone that doesn't look like you. And even if the person does look like you, if they want proximity to whiteness, then you got a problem there too. So I'm a firm believer in promoting entrepreneurship as well as generational wealth, because many of us are not taught to leave our children anything. Many of us are taught that trust funds are a bad thing. Many of us are taught that we have to grow up in poverty, and we don't. We don't. I know my children are not going to grow up in poverty, and that's not to say that I'm gonna, and this will be my final thought because I don't want to monopolize the conversation. The way in which I grew up, in my mindset, my survival mindset of the way I grew up, is not going to be the way that they grew up, because they're not going to have to deal with the same things that I dealt with as a child. But that's not to say that they can't acknowledge that these things still happen to people that might not necessarily be them, but it still happens to people. And it's not playing a victim. It's acknowledging the very real nature of what takes place in our community across multiple backgrounds.
That part.
Absolutely.
Real
What do
shit.
y'all think? What's your opinion? Do you feel like Black men as a collective put themselves in a box due to societal pressures, or do you think it's a survival method like Ant said?
I think speaking on my own testimony when trying to sustain and nurture my Blackness for myself, I did. I think, which is funny. It's funny that Tyler said this earlier. He said he's new to his Blackness, but I feel like we have to daily combat the anti-Blackness that is within us, especially when we're operating in these spaces. So I feel like we're always new to our Blackness because we grow as people every day. More specifically for me, being a Christian, having to navigate in these white evangelical spaces. If you're not, I'll just say church Black, if you're not in the pews Black, if you don't, conform to like how the pastor or these like different like board members, elders see Blackness, then it has become difficult. I see it very, very big within like white evangelical spaces. And I've had to see a couple people that, frankly, Harriet definitely wouldn't have minded dusting off her revolver for once or twice.
Big facts.
I'm just saying, but there are things in place that, people that, as far as like things called the Jude 3 Project that teach people, hey, you could be Christian and also sustain and nurture your Blackness. There are other institutions that nurture these things. But the problem is, I feel like when we're talking about navigating these spaces is the being able to turn it off. Because when you get in these spaces, you got to make sure that the space doesn't come home with you when you navigate out of these spaces. So it's one thing if you have to go to these corporate rooms, these meetings, when you have to talk to certain people, code switch, you got to make sure to get that off of you. Because what ends up happening is, it's a question I posed like a couple weeks ago. Does a chameleon have a personality? Not necessarily. Because if you have to adapt and assimilate to your environment, have you become the environment? Have you lost your identity in the process? All those things, there's always a box to be put in. The question is, are you going to tuck your feet in it at the end of the day, though? I think that's the more important question. If you're going to get comfortable in it.
Yeah. I'll just piggyback real quick off what Casper said, in that, I too am a Christian. And what I really noticed was, in my time of being a Christian, I've noticed that a lot of these white supremacy controlling things that have been placed upon the Black community that, we in turn also do to ourselves or even to other Black people comes from this white supremacy, white man religion of Christianity, right? And a lot of it comes from that because it's like, white people took the Bible, right? And white people used it to enslave Black people and say, oh, you better stay in line and use scripture to make us feel less than, and make, they turn Jesus white, all right? And Jesus ain't white. Okay, I'll just say that, like, that
was Triple H.
Like,
that was Triple H. I'm so sick and tired of seeing this, man. I'm just saying. Not
Triple H. I am sick of you.
His name is Cesare Borgia. That is one of the Pope's sons. That is not Triple H. That is a white man with a perm.
Talk that history shit.
I'm just saying. That is one of the Pope's sons. And bro. Out here looking like Triple H with thin baloney lips. I'm done. I'm going to get off my soapbox for a second.
It's true though. It's true though. And here's the thing though. A lot of people in general don't realize that Christianity in of itself came from Africa. Christianity is an African religion. Black people started this, all right? But of course, white people, like everything else in this country, got to take it and use it to benefit them and make themselves seem like a higher, more supreme being. And it's like a lot of us, if we keep it real, are still brainwashed and in that mentality that we think, and we may not say it, but we think that the white man is above us. And it's like, until we break out of that, Like I'll just tell y'all, when I started speaking out for Black Lives Matter, my church turned on me, yo. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of quote unquote Christians out here turned on me and said, you know what I'm saying? And said, oh, you shouldn't be speaking out for Black Lives Matter because that's a Marxist, you know, that's a evil organization. Don't you know the people? And I always tell people this.
I want
When I say Black Lives Matter, I am not talking about the organization.
Hold on real quick. I want one conservative white person to fucking give me the definition of Marxism and socialism and tell me the goddamn difference. Because I have yet to fucking find one. I have yet to fucking find one.
Half these people got a education on a grant. That's socialism. Shut up and sit down.
Look, they got their education from YouTube University. Let's be real.
Hey, chill out, bro. Are we allowed to have master's degrees from YouTube University? Is that not pro-black enough? I gotta ask that question seriously.
I am so done with you. I'm so done. I'm so done.
Listen, I got a master's, a bachelor's, a PhD, a Juris Doctorate. I got all that from YouTube University now.
Talk that knowledge shit, Anthony.
Certified.
I'm still, but going back on what you said, Jazz, I'm still waiting on one of these people to tell me the difference between socialism and communism. Because every time I ask a white conservative or Republican to identify what is socialism, every time they explain communism.
Every single fucking time. They don't know the difference.
It truly blows my mind.
They have no fucking idea. None.
This they saying because they all got the same talking points. That's the problem.
Exactly. And to piggyback off of what Tyler said earlier, when they sit there and they scream all lives matter, or they sit there and they go, but white people are getting murdered by cops too. Bitch, why aren't you mad? Why aren't you mad too?
That part.
I hate
Ask
that.
your motherfucking friend. Like,
that part.
I hate that. I hate it when they say white people get killed by the cops too. You know where cops came from? They came from the slave masters
that
was hunting niggas down.
They were slave catchers. And I'm going to just say this. I'm going to just say this. I gotten to the point where when white people try to quote Dr. King and weaponize Dr. King against me, I go, I follow the teachings of Malcolm X. Bye, bitch.
Thanks. Hey, even Martin, if he was alive to this day, he would have said we should have listened to Malcolm.
Even Martin was sick of their shit. They just killed his ass first. Come on now. He the one that said a riot is the language of the unheard. Shut the hell up. Anyhow, I'm sorry. Let me get off my soapbox.
Hell no, shit. Let that clip go.
Look, so.
Oh yeah, she's about to let the whole clip go.
I'm chilling, baby. Shit, let that clip go.
I'm snapping about this shit.
You're gonna have so much fun editing this.
Here's another thing that I have seen personally. I talk about, and let the clip go on that one. The war on masculinity in the Black community. I know I've seen you address.
You're pulling baby hairs now. On now. Be careful now.
Look, we just gonna say his name. Moses the prophet. Who thinks that there is this war on masculinity? I would love to know. What do y'all think? Do you think there is a war on masculinity for Black men? Do you think Black women try to emasculate y'all? Or, I mean, I already know Ant think he's on some fuck nigga shit. I already know that.
That's such a loaded question, Jess.
It really
is. It is. Look, it's not your safe zone. It's not your safe zone.
Can I pose a question?
Go ahead.
That would be okay. Wouldn't, and I mean this so sincerely, wouldn't the Black man as an individual need to find his masculinity first? Because since the plantation, it was stripped from us. I'm just that. I think that's.
I think we have a very binary thought process, or simplistic rather. I think simplistic is the word I'd rather use. Simplistic thought process of what we understand masculinity to be, right? If you know what it is that you like, and when I say if, there's a lot of people out here that are curious that don't want to admit that they're curious because of just what we're talking about, societal standards, right? And what society says and knows to be true about a flying tree income. What society says that a Black man should be. Now, when you ask the question about Black women, right? One of the things that I'm always careful to mention, and I've been getting in some debacles lately. And,
Some debacles.
Debacles. There we go. In terms of understanding and inserting intersectionality into the conversation, because our Black LGBTQIA plus brothers and sisters and family are still part of our community, regardless of whether you want to exile them or not. So in this regard, when you know what it is that you want, those types of things don't bother you. What a gay man does in his bedroom ain't got nothing to do with me.
What somebody else poops don't. What somebody else eats shouldn't make you poop. Point blank. Period.
Absolutely. And I think this idea that we have to regulate and or essentially put this standard out there for what we should all like, for what we should all be, even in terms of, for example, the conversation we had the other day about polyamory, right? The amount of people that are just like, oh no, that's just an excuse, and it's like, you don't understand history because you don't know your true lineage. You don't know the full aspect, and this is why I talk about having these diverse experiences outside of what we're used to having. So when it comes to Black women have always went to war for Black men. Always, since the beginning of time, even when we treat them like shit, even when we down talk them, even when we, and I say we because I know I'm a part of it, but I know it doesn't apply to me because I don't do that goofy nonsense.
I'm gonna start singing spirituals.
I'm still a part of that group. You get what I'm saying? So in this regard, one of the things that I've trained my mind and trained my understanding, I don't argue with the whole not all men and then because this idea of where this came from, and I think goodness gracious, Casper, I think you touched on this earlier in terms of understanding our history. Most of us don't understand our history. So we're bound to repeat that which we've been taught generationally just because we don't know anything else. So when you step outside of that thought process, understanding that there are Black men that are bisexual, there are Black men that are gay, there are Black men that are trans, there are Black women that, and we can go down the list of things. However, when we treat each other, Justin, you mentioned on this earlier, as a monolith, we are always going to return back to this same conversation, and we must acknowledge the intersectionality that exists within our community, that most oftentimes, especially as Black men, we demonize other Black men that are gay and that are bisexual.
Look, you've been speaking so many facts. Kevin done booted me off the stream. For y'all that don't know, Kevin is my FBI agent. He didn't like what Ant was saying. He's like, nah, this nigga too close. He too close. No. Booted me right the fuck off.
He helped kill Malcolm X. I'm sorry.
That motherfucker probably did. I got a bone to pick with you, Kevin. I'ma see you. Anyhow. But yeah, definitely. And just like bringing that motherfucker up real quick. It was how about Black women sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up for me? And I'm just sitting there and I saw you reply to it and I was like,
yeah, like, do you?
I was like, I wish a motherfucker would tell Tasha to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Shit. We'd all be dead.
Shit, facts.
We'd all be gone.
I wouldn't be here to tell the story.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So I think that this is a really important topic that you just asked, and when we're talking about masculinity, because it bleeds into so many things, as far as like emotional intelligence, we're talking about being able to be in tune with our femininity and everything like that, and how it is demonized. We did talk about like sexuality and everything like that, but how does one, I guess I'm curious to hear everybody else, how does one nurture their Blackness as a Black man in this anti-Black society?
Well, I mean, we haven't gotten Tyler and Merck's
I feel like that's something to also touch on this question as well. For
definitely. Merck, Tyler, what y'all got for me?
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah. It was just so much good dialogue going on. All right. So what's the topic we on right now?
Oh man, he wasn't paying attention.
No, he heard.
No, because it was everybody giving, you know what I'm saying? I'm listening to everybody. I'm getting a little bit of this. I just want to make sure I don't go off topic. So like I'm staying on topic. Like,
hey, look, I'm breaking the stigmas of mental health. I had such an ADHD moment. I was sitting there going, for like 3 minutes. Okay.
yeah,
So
so
like,
it's basically like, are we still on the same topic about like, you know what I'm saying, like putting our blackness in a box or all that, like breaking the norm, like I'm just like,
yeah,
you know, yeah, okay.
Talking about our masculinity.
Talking about the war
so
on masculinity.
Yeah, all right. So that's the biggest thing. You know, like I think Anthony said it best. You know, we have this perceived notion of what masculinity actually is, and to me personally, masculinity is being comfortable with yourself as a man. Period. Right? If you gay, straight, tall, short, in general, like that ain't got nothing to do with it. Like me, I know my sexuality. I'm a heterosexual male. I know what I like. I love women. And if another person don't like women, he like men, like both, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with how I pay my bills, how I make my money, how I feed my family. Ain't none of that got shit to do with me. But as a whole, we do have to do better with including this inside of the conversations when we talk about the Black community as a whole, because there are a lot of these points that are still driven from, you know, going back to the Willie Lynch syndrome. You know, it's these talking points that come from white supremacy, like saying like, oh, we don't need gay Black people in our community because that came from the white man, because they don't want us to procreate and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. So that's the real thing. Like, I think people really need to do some soul searching and do some digging on the inside as Black men in the community and find out, you know, what makes them masculine as a man. And then not to mention, we need to just stop focusing on masculinity as a whole, because it's dudes who claim that they super masculine, that they think they tough guys, but real life bitches. Like, that's just get that.
I'm saying,
like,
if I hear one more motherfucker sit there and go, I'm an alpha.
Dudes be so tough. Dudes be rah. My woman need to do this. She need to do what I say, when I say it, how I say it. Bro, you sitting out here, you living in your mama's crib, bro.
Hey, your mom, your woman who needs to do whatever the fuck you say.
That's why I'm like, bro, where's this
no problem
energy?
catching the case. I'm just gonna say that.
Where's this energy for your Black mama who house that you living in right now? Like, that's why I don't be getting, where do these dudes be finding the audacity to say the shit that they say sometimes, telling Black women that they need to stay in their place. Look here, Goofy, if it wasn't for Black women, your ass wouldn't even exist, period.
And some of the loudest ones telling Black women to stay in their place are not even standing in their place.
Exactly, bro.
They in their mama place or their grandmama place, and not taking care of them in their place. You know,
not providing nothing to the table, nothing, not paying no bills, not paying no mortgage, not feeding nobody. Bro, you got dudes out here that's more worried about the Jordans they got on their feet than worried about what food going in their babies' mouths, and that's real shit.
And I think we need to put the onus back off on the understanding that masculinity is centered around leadership.
Facts.
How well can you lead?
Facts.
Can you teach your household? Is that woman going to be comfortable enough that those children are going to learn something? Is she going to have, or he going to have something to follow? We get lost in the sauce of the nuanced nature of, oh, what are you inserting yourself into? When masculinity is so much more than that. Can you keep and hold an intelligent conversation? Do you know a skill? Can you survive? If you're placed out in the wilderness, can you survive? Do you know how to rally resources? There's so much more to it than just this nuanced idea. And I think it goes into the hypersexualization that we only think, when we think of masculinity, most oftentimes we go right to sex.
I'm gonna say something real quick. Hold on, Casper. Hold on. So I'm gonna say something real quick, and it might be controversial. Y'all can tell me if you agree or disagree. But to me, the ideas of masculinity are rooted in white supremacy. It's rooted in obedience from a woman. It's rooted in not being able to show your feelings. It's rooted in what's the word? Like, you have to constantly show strength. You have to be an alpha, or you're nothing but a bitch beta type thing. To me, those are the same ideals from white supremacy, and that is why white slave masters would do things like buck breaking and everything like that to their slaves.
Facts.
That's just my opinion.
I can't say that I agree with that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because a lot of the things that and we've all touched on this, a lot of the things that we do, right? We have this understanding of what it is, and then we have this conflated idea of what was given to us. And what we have far more of us on the mindset of what was given to us, as opposed to what we know to be true, then we're always going to water it down with what was given to us, because it's easier to allow someone else to think for you than to think for yourself. So the understanding of masculinity in and of itself is leadership. At the core base of masculinity is leadership, to whereby you get the standards that you're talking about that we're governed under, which is that idea of obedience, that idea of proximity to whiteness, that idea of the diminishment of your intelligence. Why? Because you want to make white folk comfortable. So we have the box, right? Or rather the understanding of masculinity, right? Then we have the governance of it, which is whereby the stuff that you're talking about, that is the governance of it. So it's almost like giving you a toy, right? And instead of allowing you to play with that toy, I'm going to tell you exactly how you're supposed to play with that toy. I'm not allowing you to use your imagination. I'm not allowing you to look at the manual. I'm telling you, I don't care what the manual says. I'm going to tell you exactly how you're supposed to play with that toy. It's the exact same thing.
That's a good point.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, I would definitely agree with you as far as like what I meant by it was definitely the governance of it. I definitely agree with you there. Tyler, you've been quiet for a little bit. What you think?
He's struggling to unmute himself. Hold on, bro. There you go.
Okay, cool. My bad. So, okay, so when it comes to masculinity, right? I think that there's a big problem within the Black community, especially with Black men, that we're just told, we're raised at times to not show emotion, right? Like, I have a friend, I talked to him about this. I talked to him about this the other day, and he was saying, like, I was telling him, why is it so hard for you to like love a woman? Or why is it so hard? Like, I've never seen you cry, bro. Like, why is that? And he's like, well, bro, growing up, like my uncles would punch me in the chest if I even tried to show emotions or whatever, right? And it's like they used to tell him, oh, don't be a bitch. You know what I mean? Like man up. And it's like, I think there's this big misconception of emotions being tied to being a man, that if you're a man, you can't show that. And to me, that's a huge problem, because to me, I wasn't raised that way, but I know plenty of Black men that are my friends who were raised like that. And it's a very dangerous cycle that I think happens. And it's like, when it comes to masculinity, we think that emotions aren't tied to that. When to me, people that show emotion are the strongest people. You know what I mean? And people can agree or disagree with me on that, but to me, people that can cry and can like really express their emotions are the strongest. I think when you hold all that stuff in, it really messes with your mental health. It really messes with your health overall, and it leads you down a path of destruction. And to me, that's why I tell people, like, don't be afraid to cry. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to express your feelings, because we're human. You know what I mean? Like, we're human. Like, we shouldn't be scared, or we shouldn't ever hold back from showing emotion or showing our feelings or talking to someone about what we're going through. And to me, it's like in the Black community, I've seen that as a big problem. And I think that's something that needs to change. I think it is changing, I think it is, but it's something that's been a very dangerous cycle for a long time. So like for me, like even like such things as, like me and my brother Casper, we have a really close relationship. And, I call him beautiful. And a lot of people might look at me like,
beautiful too, nigga.
No, but
let's go.
For real,
like Black men giving other Black men compliments and not feeling like
for real, there's a lot of people that think that's weird. Like, why are you calling another man beautiful? And I'm like, there's nothing weird about that. Like we Black men are beautiful. Black women are beautiful. Like, why are we scared to tell another Black man like he's beautiful, or even I love you, bro? You know what I mean? Give another Black man a hug. Like, why are we scared to do that? It's because of this dangerous cycle that's been taught to us, that's been placed on us, and it's something that, in my opinion, really needs to die because, like telling someone they're beautiful, like, doesn't have nothing to do with like you're attracted to them or you want, like, no, like it's just, hey, you're a beautiful man, like.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
If it's easy for you to tell another man he's ugly, then you obviously have an idea.
Yeah,
of
then
what
you got a problem.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I'm just saying.
Listen. I'm gonna keep it a band with you. I ain't telling niggas they beautiful. I tell them dapper.
That's cool. That's you. That's you.
After that poly talk, motherfuckers be in your DMs like nobody's business.
And that's the thing. Like, I think that breaking down that barrier, I think that it's very vitally important because even just something as simple as me giving you a compliment, you got to accompany that with no homo. I'm not gay. You never said you're gay. Why you saying no homo?
I hate that. I hate it when people do that.
So that was something, I'll be honest, I even had to rechain my own thought process because I say stuff like pause or I ain't gonna lie. Some stuff sound real suggestive. Careful.
Don't call me out. Don't call me out on my own podcast. I say pause all the damn time.
Listen,
don't call me out on my own podcast.
But I think the no homo, I think that is a lot more damaging because this idea that, like you said, something as simple as I can't even give you a compliment without someone looking at it as it being gay. And I'm so glad because there were some people over here on my TikTok that was saying, can y'all touch on emotions? I'm so glad you touched on that because it's like, if you show, I tell people all the time, showing emotion is one of the greatest signs of strength that you will ever exhibit. Psychologically and anatomically within your damn body, you will literally shorten your lifespan by holding in all of that anger, frustration, sadness. You will have ulcers. You will literally have migraines if you do not let out those emotions. And the reason why is because you've been conditioned to believe that it's weak. It makes you a bitch. You can't say certain things. You can't do certain things. There we go, neurological. So in this regard, I'm so glad, Tyler, that you mentioned that the emotional aspect of it is because we have to demystify and destigmatize this idea that you cannot be emotional as a man. I'll keep it a whole 100. I told my wife when we got married, I'm a very emotional man, and I am not ashamed of it at all. Motherfucker, if I'm gonna cry, nigga, I'm gonna cry. Period. You know,
Keisha Cole,
you've done it on live, unapologetically.
Hey, listen,
and not a single person judged you for it. Because it's okay to not be okay. Look, and you know what? That's actually a really good point because Key just brought my sister Key. She just went ahead and she said, "Can we talk about the suicide rates in men due to them suppressing their emotions?" I mean, we all know that men commit suicide at an exponential rate, and that all ties into toxic masculinity. And without getting too deep in what you guys are comfortable for, have y'all experienced issues with that where it's like, damn, I've suppressed my emotions and I don't know what to do with them? I mean, obviously, your comfort level, this may be named not your safe zone, but I'm not trying to re-traumatize anybody here. Go ahead, Casper.
So first off, there ain't nothing wrong with crying. 3 o'clock in the morning, Keisha Cole and hot wings. That's how I get down with some sad boy. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
Yes, you heard me. So for me, I think, and we touched on this a little bit, time, Jess, but I had a heart attack at 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? I had a heart attack at 22 years old. I'm 27 now. You know what I'm saying? Always feeling the need to be on the grind all the time. Always feeling the need to, can't have a breakdown. I gotta go to work. I can't, because, and I don't know if anybody else's black men understands this. Once you start crying, you can't stop. It's either 100% or you can't give in that 10, you know what I'm saying? And for me, yeah. So like for me, I just like Anthony was talking about, it was destroying me on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Like, my grandfather on my dad's side died from a heart attack. My grandfather's grandfather, most of the men in my family and women, heart disease is a real thing. And I just think to myself, and I learned all these things, especially going to therapy now. that I don't think people really understand, especially when we're talking about being black men in the society as we deal with microaggressions. People don't realize that microaggressions are like micro cuts. They're like little mini heart attacks as it happens. These things deteriorate you from the inside. That's why it sounds crazy when I say 22 years old, I had a heart attack, but people in our community typically have heart attacks at like 55, that age bracket, but mostly white people get heart attacks and they're like upper 80s. That's unfortunately what we have to deal with. There was a funny fact that Tyler spoke on a little bit earlier, but black men don't cry. You know, black men are more than likely to get pink eye than anybody else in America because the sodium in our tears flushes our eyes out. Anybody ever think of that?
Wow.
I had no idea.
Know that.
You know, black men will get pink eye before anybody else in America. The salt in your tears flushes your eyes out.
Y'all motherfuckers better make sure you cry.
All the time.
Hey, it's healthy too, man. Shit, you got to sometimes, and like, yeah, touching back on like what we said. I'm sorry, bro, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, one thing that we definitely gotta, especially to bring this full circle of what we're talking about right now, in some way, shape, or form, every single black person, and I mean this wholeheartedly, every single black person needs to go through therapy. And I'm not talking necessarily a doctor field where you go to some therapist, sit on a long couch and tell me about your life as a kid. No, I'm talking about real life therapy. When we have problems, we need to communicate. That's the biggest problem in the black community, is that we don't communicate because we have this internalized feeling of just being judged, because you know, sometimes we do feel like we put ourselves in a box and that we can't talk about certain things amongst ourselves. But surely we realize is that black people, we go through mental health just like everybody else. The only difference is we have to be strong about it. You know what I'm saying? Because the society is not going to take our mental health as serious. You know what I'm saying? If we say we're depressed, you know what I'm saying? You got our elders or people from the black community like, oh man, you just having a hard day, man. Just smoke some weed, you'll be all right. Like, no, mental illness is a very real thing in our community. So that's the first thing. People need to get in touch with their emotions and find therapy, rather if it's putting puzzles together, rather if it's drawing, right? Like I said, what we do with music, spoken word artists, anything that helps clear your mind and that makes your soul, you know what I'm saying, whole, and makes you feel better as a person on the inside and out, you need to do that. Find your therapy no matter what it is. And that's really all I got to say as far as the emotion goes.
December 23rd, 2009. Perfect example. I attempted to take my own life.
Right.
For that very reason. I felt like nobody understood me. I had all these emotions. I didn't know what to do with them. I felt like nobody cared. So if nobody else cares, why should I?
That's real.
And then going through that experience, it taught me that most oftentimes when we get those feelings, when we have those feelings, it's not necessarily because of the people that we want to be there, right? I'm sorry, it's not because of the people that we already have there. It's because of the people that we want to be there that may never show up. It's because of the support that we want, but we may never receive. Or the comfort that we may want that we may never receive. So we're not taught to be comfortable with ourselves before being comfortable with other people. So we go and seek that out in others only to find that we're erroneously searching. And you end up, what my dad used to say, broke, busted, and disgusted. Because now you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know how to navigate. And I'm so glad that I was able to persevere through that and become the man that I am today, not just for me, but for my wife and for my children and for those around me in my community. But not everyone has that story to tell. Not everyone has that experience. So what we serve as is we serve as not just a beacon of light, but as examples of the nuanced nature of our diverse backgrounds and experiences to say, hey, you don't have to grow up in poverty. Or if you did, this is how you persevere. Or if you didn't, this is the types of things you can do to stay on the right path. But when we stigmatize and put all of these essentially asterisk marks on what it is to be a man or what it is to be a black man, that is when we get into that nuanced nature of individuals denying their emotions and or suppressing their emotions, and they start to have these very real life experiences. I cannot imagine having a heart attack at 22 years old. Listen, I don't even have a hat on, but my hat's off to you, because I can't even imagine that, and it comes from a very real place. I seen this video on TikTok, and I've been trying to grab it. I seen it on my For You page, but it was a kid telling their parent that they're depressed, and they told the child straight up, "No, you're not. How you gonna tell me I'm not depressed?
Oh yeah.
How you gonna tell me how I'm feeling right now?"
Matter of fact, I was talking about this with my community the other day. I told my parents I'm depressed. I don't know if I want to be here anymore. And my mother's response was, "Don't talk about that stupid again, or I'll kill you." I was 10 years old. That's a normalized behavior.
And I just want to speak on that as a mother of Black sons. My 11-year-old, he was born with gastroschisis. So he was born with his intestines outside of the body. He does not have a belly button. He has a scar from all his surgeries. And he told me that he was depressed because he doesn't feel like everybody else. At no point did I think, "Nigga, you fine." I didn't think anything like that, or "No, you're not," or "Get over it." I went and got him a therapist, and he's doing amazing. Because if you nurture that it's okay to not be okay, when they're children,
Say that again.
they are going to grow up and understand it's okay for me to feel things. Right. I just have to learn how to feel them in a productive manner. Like, my kids have seen me cry. I know that as a Black woman, it's not common for us to show our emotions and let our kids know when we're struggling. But I let my kids know because I myself also struggled with suicidal attempts and everything like that. It is an epidemic in the Black community alone.
Well, you know what that is, though? You know what it is? And this isn't talked about enough. It's because we love to talk about each other so negatively when we're down bad. Like, if something happens to like somebody in our community, we don't want it to become the talk of the town. So for instance, if I was that depressed child that attempted to take their life and everything like that, everybody in the family gonna know that, oh, that's so-and-so. You don't want to bang with them. They got that depressed kid. They crazy or something like that. Talking like that is so normalized. That's why you get defensive when you hear stuff like, "Oh, how dare you be depressed?" Like, it's on you, unfortunately.
That's on one of those "what happens in this house stays in this house" type shit.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think it also comes from the fact that you can't let anybody know there's something wrong with you. Because I feel like that's generational trauma going back to chattel slavery. Because you couldn't let the slave master know that there was something wrong with you. You can walk up to him and be like, "I'm depressed." The fuck? Right. You'd get whipped and shit the fuck off.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. So I feel like it's also something that has been ingrained in our minds as a survival tactic. And that's something that we need to unlearn, because we're actually doing more harm to our sons and daughters, to our children, to ourselves, if we are not acknowledging our emotions, period.
Right.
Tyler, what you think?
Yeah. So just speaking from someone that has had depression, suicidal thoughts and whatever, I could just say that is definitely real. People are really going through it. And I think that we as Black people, we have generational trauma, right? When we see things happen to other Black people, it brings up a certain feeling within us. And that's trauma from our ancestors and what they went through that's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. That's why when you see things like George Floyd, when you see things like Breonna Taylor, it strikes an emotion within you because that's trauma, you know what I mean, from the ancestors that, they went and stuff like that too. And they went through abuse and they went through torture and things like that. And for me, I could just say like, I had this one instance where I saw this shooting of a black man by the police on video, and I remember immediately breaking down and crying, and I couldn't stop crying. I had to call my girlfriend at the time, and I was just on the phone with her for an hour crying, and she was just on the phone with me, letting me get all my emotions out, and it's just crazy, like for me, like that's why I'm so careful about the way I treat people, because you never know what someone is going through. And I try to watch how I talk to people. I try to, make sure I show people love and care, because sometimes the person with the biggest smile can be the most depressed person and you just don't
That
know it.
part.
Fact.
Facts.
So for me, I don't know what the next person is going through unless you tell me, like, and some people don't want to say. Like for me, I'm a very reserved, shy, like person. Unless I really know you, I don't really talk to you like that. And the way I show people I trust them is by showing them and telling them what I'm going through. That's the way I show people that I trust them. Right. So for me, yeah, you really just don't know. And in the Black community, it's really bad. It's really bad with mental health. And I'm glad that there are more people that are coming out and talking about it, more Black people that are coming out and talking about it and really expressing it, because it needs to be talked about. It really does. And for me, I encourage people. I say, hey, go to therapy. You know what I mean? Get some therapy, or find someone that you can trust and talk to them, because at the end of the day, unless you tell me what you're going through, I'm not going to know. But
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, we need to stop treating therapy like insurance that we need it after the accident. If we actually treated therapy like something that is just as normal as going to church on Sunday morning, just as normal as, Big Mama breaking them greens up and everything like that. If we made that a culture, it wouldn't be so out of the norm or out of practice. I think that's something that needs to be introduced into the culture. But the problem is that we decide to start going to therapy once somebody has a breakdown. That's right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people drop their iPhones like, damn, I wish I had Apple Care. Well, if you had it before then, before you dropped your iPhone, you know what I'm saying? But why we do that to ourselves though?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's real, man.
Our mind is our best resource. So if we don't keep that up, how can we say that we are physically fit, that we are mentally fit, if we're not doing that maintenance, if we're not doing that? You got to get an oil change on your car. Right. You got to change out the toilet paper roll.
Hey,
go to therapy and get your mind right.
I'm glad that commenter mentioned access. I want to make sure I give this resource. It's called 7 Cups. It's a free app that allows you to talk to people from different through different categories: anxiety, depression, things of that nature. It's a free therapy app. And you can match with individuals in terms of like who you want to talk to via text. And I think it's a great resource for those that can't afford. Because we also got to think about those that can't afford therapy as well. I mean, I'm in the military, so it's free for us. You know what I'm saying? They encourage us to go and talk to somebody. However, I want to give that resource because I think that access is definitely a very, very important thing to insert into the conversation, because many of us don't have that access. But one thing many of us do have is these smartphones, and 7 Cups is a phenomenal app, and they will talk to you. I'm gonna be honest with you, 7 Cups made me a better father. You know what I'm saying? By allowing me to talk about things that I might not be able to talk to my homeboys or my dad or my brothers about, that I just wanted to, and somebody said this on my live, sometimes to just talking to a complete stranger will allow you to move through your thought process a little better, because there's no bias there. Right. There's no bias there from the sense of they don't know you, you don't know them. You don't feel no certain type of loyalty to them. They don't feel no certain type of loyalty to you. And most oftentimes we want to hear certain things, but it's not what we need to hear. So I do my absolute darndest, especially within my line of warriors, because I don't have a circle of friends. I got a line of warriors that they're going to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And I think that that's a huge, huge difference.
Right.
I definitely I get that. Casper just said today he just compared me to cough medicine.
Huh?
You ain't gonna like it, but you need it.
Cherry
That's what he.
flavored. You know what I'm saying? Your
I
cherry
was cherry
flavored.
flavored today because I
And
had
that
a
cherry
bad
flavor
morning.
sucked.
I like
Yes.
that.
I was mad as hell. Okay, I was not nice today. I was not nice.
Hey,
So I mean, with that being said, fuck ADHD moment. Told you they happen all the damn time.
Hey,
therapy,
you good?
cough medicine, you were
Yeah.
not being
Look.
nice, something like that. I don't
Look,
know.
it's a roller coaster. Y'all do not want to be in this brain. I'm telling y'all. And I'm sitting here like, ooh,
What kind of
vanilla
carpet
flavored
they got
Tootsie
in there?
Rolls.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, so I mean, and touching a little bit on mental health in the aspect of, can y'all tell me what kind of mental health practices do you use to keep your mind in tune today? Just to give people an idea, a jumping off point for people who are watching that may be struggling with mental health.
Yeah. I could tell anybody. For me, I think one of the biggest things I like to do is I love to laugh. So for me, I
You
love to
got a
watch.
contagious laugh, boy. Oh my goodness. This boy
Yeah.
peel the paint off the walls when he laughed, boy. My goodness.
No, but I do love to laugh, and one of the things I do is I watch like stand-up comedy. I just love stand-up comedy, so I'll throw on like Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle or something like that, and just like laugh. I think like laughing is very healthy for us, and also for anybody that's in activism work or maybe is just trying to speak out and everything. Don't spend all your time focused on that. I think there's a danger in making activism your whole life when you need to take a break. Like I've had to take several breaks and
Can I
just say,
combat
"Hey,
that?
sure."
So my sons are not going to be able to take a break from being black men. So why the fuck would I take a break from being an activist? That's
That
how
part.
I personally see it. Because
I get that.
honestly, I'm
Yeah.
not doing this for me. I'm doing it for my sons. I'm doing it for my daughter.
Right.
That's just for me. Like, they don't get to take a break from who they are. So why am I going to stop fighting? That's just the way I see it. But I definitely understand what you're saying too.
Yeah. And I get that, and I understand completely what you're saying, and I agree. We don't get a chance. We're not able to take a break from being black. None of us. Every time we walk out the house, we have that risk and that danger. But at the same time, what I'm saying is, like, for me, I noticed that when I was just so focused on it and everything, it really started to mess with my mental health to where I was angry all the time and I had negative thoughts and negative emotions. And it just kind of like really did damage on me personally. Maybe this isn't everybody. Maybe I'm just speaking from my experience, but it really started to mess with me mentally. And it's when I took a break that I was able to get back to peace. And I'm not saying that people that are focused on it all the time don't have peace. What I'm saying is for me, and maybe this speaks to someone that can relate to me.
Tyler,
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying, but I don't think you're saying the right word, because it doesn't sound like what you're saying is a break. What it sounds like is I look at activism as war, right? We are at war with these goofies, right? So when we understand the nature of war, right? Many of us have gifts, talents, and abilities that warrant us to be warriors, right? Then you have those of us that are tacticians. You have those of us who are medics, right? What you're speaking to is more so understanding when you need to step off the field and allow your comrades to go ahead and take those shots, because you can't pour from an empty glass. You can't shoot from an empty weapon. So in this regard, once you feel like your clip is empty, you need to retreat back, go load that clip back up, right? Your mental health, and then get back out there into the fight. And I think that's what Jessica was hitting on. We don't have time to take breaks. This is a war. We are
Right.
literally at war, and I don't mean war in the sense of like a race war or anything like that. So let's be very clear, because I know the goofies will try to clip that. Oh my God, I speak.
Oh, yeah.
He said it. There's a war.
He's
Nope,
declaring
absolutely
war.
not. I'm talking.
We're coming
metaphorically.
for baloney lips.
This space that we step into is about warfare, and we need to understand what our capabilities are. And many of us, we stay on the field for far too long, getting in the way of other warriors, that we end up wounded because we were too prideful to get off the field. You cannot be effective when you're at minimum capacity. And I think that's what you are speaking more so too, in terms of being able to take that step back, reevaluate, you know what I'm saying, re-strategize, and then get back out there into the fight. Because yes, there are going to be times where you may have to step off the field, and there are going to be times where you may have to just take a step back and allow those medics to patch you up, right? That's the hate and discontent we get as content creators, right?
Yeah.
That's going out there to these protests, right? And having goofies show up with flags that don't look like anything you ever seen before, with hoods you ain't never seen before. Those are the types of things that we sometimes got to take a step back and say, you know what, I'm gonna allow those that, you know, are trained for this to get out there and fight the good fight. And then when I see an opportunity for me to be able to, and not in the sense of being an opportunist, but an opportunity for me to rejoin the fight, right? Because I've went and reloaded up, you know what I'm saying, my clip, and you know, I've got my mind together, right? Because war changes people.
Facts.
This life that we live, it changes people. Certain experiences that you have within the community, it changes you. How many of you can honestly say you've seen someone die in your arms before? How many of you have seen somebody get shot in front of you? These are very real experiences. How many of you been robbed at gunpoint before? I don't care how gangster you are. Those types of things change you. Even if it changes you to become more militant, they change you.
I think what Tyler is speaking of possibly is like knowing when you need to avert your energy to something else. I think that's what, because me and him have talked about this a couple of times, where it's just like, okay, maybe I need to educate myself. Maybe I don't need to expose myself to what's happening right now. Maybe I don't need to be hitting the streets. So you can still be a part of the war. You just might need to look, bro. You may need to put the gat down. You might need to be able to hand out some water bottles. That's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I think what. And I think like what he's saying is like when he means take a break, maybe you need to change duty stations. Maybe you need to change your assignment as far as like what your MOS. Am I speaking that right correctly?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Military member. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. But yeah, we've talked about this a couple of times. But yeah, I think as us, especially us being, you know, black in this country, we never necessarily get to take a break because we're always either catching the bullets or firing them, essentially.
Right.
And I think that speaks directly to the topic that we're talking about, especially as it relates to masculinity, because we're taught that we have to be warriors 24/7. We're taught that we can't be the medic, we can't be the tactician back there in the situation room. All of us don't need to be out there on the field. Everybody's not built for warfare. You dig what I'm saying? Some of us have more brilliant minds in terms of, okay, I'm going to send 15 people over here. I'm going to send 20 people over here. I'm going to send 25 people. I'm going to reserve the other 15. And when I start to see the numbers get low, boom, I'm going to disperse this person over here. Boom, I'm going to disperse this person over here. No, we're taught we have to be warriors 24/7. And I think that's a little bit more. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, but I don't think that you were specifically, and I'm glad, Jessica, I'm glad you fought back against that and will rather push back against that, because you're right. We don't get a break. But at the same time, we need to understand when we need to give one another a break, and understanding and recognizing that sometimes we got to tell that brother, hey, listen, I know you just had a full clip and you got 6 grenades on you, but we need you to hold those grenades and go refill your clip. You know what I'm saying? And he over here like, nah, hell no, I'm still good. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're useless right now. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go to raise that, boom, they shoot that. Now your hand is done. Now you're useless to the war. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He ended up being so tired, you don't know when to pull the pin.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I think they said it way better than I could say it. You know, I'm still learning a lot. So I know that sometimes when I'm speaking about this stuff, I may not always say the right thing or put things in the right perspective.
Speak your truth, brother. Speak your truth.
Yeah.
So I think all three of you were essentially saying the same thing, just in different ways.
Right.
I think all of you guys were still saying, you know, the same thing. It just sounded different because y'all talk different, and that's okay. Black
Yeah.
is not a monolith.
And
Merc,
that's the thing
what
is,
do you think?
Yeah. I mean, no, it's basically pretty much like what I was saying. We definitely do. I'm gonna speak from personal experience, but I know Anthony and me, many other content creators can all relate to this. Sometimes this shit is not easy by any means.
Facts.
By any, you get, for one, you get 1,000 inboxes a day of people that want you to address certain topics, want you to touch on certain things, want you to research certain things. You get 1,000 comments a day. You get 1,000 tags a day of people wanting you to touch on this. Oh, get this goofy, attack this person. Then it gets to a point where people literally start treating you like they personal attack dog.
Yep.
And that's the part where we, as activists and content creators, we feel like the world and the pressure of the world is being put on our shoulders. And to a defense, we kind of we cave in a little bit. I mean, sometimes, especially with me, y'all know how the stuff I be going through. They be banning me, giving me violation guidelines, putting
Every
me on
other
weak
damn
bans for
day.
absolute bullshit. I mean, for the most bullshit like that
This
you
one?
could ever imagine. But sometimes it gets to a point where, all right, before the last little hiatus that I took, I was going against what was that goofy that we exposed, the Hippocrates, whatever his name was. This
Hippocrates,
dude
yeah.
literally
the
got
sex offender
exposed.
Hippocrates.
Yes, this dude, I literally exposed this dude, and not just me, many other people. We literally exposed this dude. These people always talking about we got to save the children, we got to protect our kids on this app, blah, blah, blah. Y'all literally got a fucking registered sex offender on this app. And then when we exposed him to coming out about this, you got all these people who are literally by the thousands defending this dude. And I'm talking like, it's like these people, like, they flood my comment section. They getting me perma banned. They reporting all my videos and posts. And it got to a point where I was just like, bro, fuck this shit. Cause it's like, at the end of the day, it's like you can't win. But that's when that moment you got to take a step back and realize, wait a second. This is exactly what they want. They want to get in my head. They want me to break. They want me to snap. They want me to fall back. So then, like what Anthony said, bro, once you get that, you got to recuperate. Sometimes, bam, you got to go recharge, fill your battery, like go through that therapy like I was talking about. Just in this past month or two, I bought a motorcycle. I never rode a motorcycle a day in my life. It's something that I always wanted to do. I found motorcycling. I love it. And that's my new therapy now. So that's the main thing. You always got to find your therapy. And once you recharge and get your batteries back, once you get back to normal, then that's when you go back into the fight. But like he said, you can't be crucial or beneficial to the fight if you down to your very last and if you ain't got nothing in the clip.
Facts.
That's just my thing.
So one of the things that I practice a lot is meditation.
Yeah.
And I know in terms of, and I pray a lot too. I'm not very religious, but I am very spiritual. And I do believe in the power of prayer. I also believe in the stillness of meditation. And I know for me, one of the things that I've just recently been getting into is Native American flute music. It's really calming. Sometimes I'll just listen to sounds of the ocean, the waves crashing, saxophone instrumentals. I really love the saxophone. And just, I mean, those of you that know me, y'all know I live in Hawaii. So there's literally a beach in every direction of me. You know what I'm saying? Must be nice. And, you know, it's just something, it calms me. But I think that we need to find sometimes people say, oh, find your happy place. Sometimes it isn't blah, blah. Sometimes it isn't about finding your happy place, but finding happiness within yourself. Because, you know, to me, well, let me retract that. Finding joy, because happiness fades, but joy lasts forever. So finding that,
say that again.
Seeking less to find happiness, because happiness is gonna come and go. You be happy one day, you be sad the next. But joy is something that you know. It's like you wake up in the morning and you know it costs you absolutely nothing to go and do what you love. It brings you joy to help others. It brings you joy. Like for me, it brings me joy to educate. To see people in my comments like, yo, I never heard that before, or I never seen that before. Even with my meditation, I'd be like, oh, all right, y'all, I'm about to get off live. I'm about to go down to the beach and meditate. Oh, well, I didn't even think about that. I haven't even prayed today. You know what? Go get your peace. I'm on the protect your peace movement, because a lot of us, I feel like we give away our peace so much to people and to things that don't deserve it. And we the way my college mentor put it is, sometimes in life we major in minor things.
He just turned into the dad off of Good Times real quick.
He went dad real quick.
Hey, you know it's the part, it's the turning the mic off and that swift hand movement that's there. Hey,
so smooth. You know he done this before. It was like
exactly. Hey, even I almost went to go clean my room for a second just because.
Let me go pull the chicken out the fridge.
Shit, I'm like, damn, did I take the trash out today? Shit.
That's wild.
But yeah, damn, I did it again.
Nah,
yes,
you talking about like us practices, how we find our peace, like meditation, prayer, whatever case may be, like our mental health. How do we keep up with our mental health?
Yeah. So for me, like this is gonna sound so weird to some of y'all. This having these conversations and just having that dialogue and me learning and me educating, like that is my piece. Because a big thing that stresses me out, I know I have these conversations in my home, but I want to be the catalyst that helps have these conversations in other homes. So for me, that's my piece personally. Casper, Tyler, what's something that you do to find your peace?
I guess I'm gonna go. You're just gonna point the finger at me. That's cool. So for me, I won't make the mistake in using the word break, but redirect my focus. I think in this sense, when we're talking about something you need to do to, I guess, like nurture your just your mental health and everything like that, I can only be as great as a leader, activist, whatever title. I usually don't like to give myself titles. I allow whoever in spaces I operate give me the titles, and hopefully I fulfill that role to the best of my ability. That's just me. I don't really like the title leader because I think a leader needs to lead and then he can lead, or she can lead, or they can lead. You know what I'm saying? But for me, taking care of myself, that's finding something to laugh about. Jess, you were there the other day. We had a Zoom call where I kind of just went on like a Stephen A rant, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to rant about this. Hopefully everybody laughs, and just being able to actually enjoy other people and everything like that. I myself am an empath, which means that not only do I feel negative emotions, but I also feel positive emotions too. So sometimes just being around good people and having people sharpen me at the same time. And meditation definitely helps for me. I meditate more than my sleep. I meditate more than I sleep, I would say. Sometimes I'll just sit there and everybody thinks that my eyes are closed because I have to move my eyebrows to show to wipe my eyes, but really I'm just sitting there meditating.
He lying. He do be falling
Yes,
asleep
sir.
sometimes.
I fall asleep on y'all because sometimes y'all be talking about some boom. And anyway, that's besides the point. But but I think being able to just keep consistency. I myself have bipolar 2 disorder. That's big on nutrition. Make sure I'm eating correctly. Make sure I'm getting regular sleep, even though I sleep like maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. Just don't even snitch on me on the internet. This isn't the place for it. I would better be safe in your safe zone. That's all I gotta say. You know what I'm saying? But just consistency and balance. I find that to be more important than anything, especially when there's a lot of things that I feel like, as far as like the season in my life, that there's a lot of transitions. So being able to find, peace, balance, and some sense of consistency is definitely the best thing that's been, what'd you say? You say you really are sleeping on us. Well, y'all are boring. There's a reason why we sleep on y'all, but that's besides the point. But yeah. And I think what I could just suggest for anybody else is journal. Nobody else knows your thoughts better than you do. Sometimes when you're trying to shift through your emotions, identifying them and then kind of building off of that and kind of keeping a journal, get a diary, whatever you want to call it. That's up to you. Decorate it however you want to do it. Times New Roman font, italicize it, whatever you got to do to tickle your fancy. But journaling has been very, very good for me, especially as an artist, because sometimes when I think of what I'm going through as a song comes up, I can go back and reference what emotions and what thoughts and everything came from it. And then I can go back in my life and find where these emotions showed up and played prominent roles in my life. But definitely
Facts.
journaling. I don't think that's talked about enough, for sure.
Journaling is very therapeutic. Very.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Tyler?
Yeah. So I'd like to piggyback off what Casper said, and community is definitely a lifesaver. It's been a lifesaver for me. Just forming we have this community group called Divinity, and then we got the sister chat and everything, and they've been the
I'm gonna
best.
need you to get an iPhone.
Look, I told you I'm not getting an iPhone. I don't like iPhones. Okay, I have one. I ain't interested.
Hey, I'm gonna just say right now, Android slander will not be tolerated. I know y'all see me
Oh,
on
no,
clear
not
day.
you.
Yo, you forgot what it
Not
Android
you.
slander will not be
This is all
tolerated.
about Android slander
Listen,
around
I
here.
did not grow up to get a job to live in poverty with an Android. Okay.
Oh, all right. I'm calling you after this, bro. Oh,
See, this is where we segregate. See, blue bubbles over here, green
Yeah.
bubbles over there. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
We don't need to integrate in the group chat. That's fine. That's
You know
fine.
what? You know what? This is called phoneism right here. I don't like that.
Wow.
Not the
Wow.
phoneism.
Bruh.
Sound
Hey, we
just
got
like
colorism, we got phoneism, we all fucked up in here now.
just like an Andy. I can't believe you. Wow.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, but anyway, so yes,
You can't even
community
get in.
has been one of the best things I've had in my life in a long time. Just having people like Casper, people like, I'm saying, Key, people, Jessica, Black Girl Warrior, Auntie Maya, just all these people in my life has just been so good, and because we're not meant to be alone. If we're just keeping it real, like we weren't created to be alone. We were created for community. And it's like, for me, I spent so many years just being by myself that sometimes it's hard for me to kind of break out of my shell. And it's kind of hard for me to like really welcome people in and be like, okay, I'm but these people have gotten so close to me so quick. And it's like, I consider them all my sisters and my brothers. It's like, this is my family. I know that we talk about the real. We don't hold back. We really talk about what we're going through. And I think that's important to have people that you can really talk to about what you're really going through. So for me, community has just been awesome. I love community. Because it's weird because all these people from all different parts of the country, I ain't really got no friends where I'm at. I be to myself. But it's like I got Jessica over here, and then I got Casper over here, then I got Key over here. Then it's like I got all these people in different parts of the country, but yet it's like we've built such a strong connection with each other through the internet, through the social media and everything. It's weird. It's like whoever thought
You
this would
are
happen.
loved, motherfucker. Get over it.
Look. I'll take my flowers, black woman. I'll take my flowers, but your
You
love
got a
too.
choice with
Okay?
me. So I think this conversation was an amazing and very fruitful and informative conversation. How did y'all feel about it?
Oh no, I feel like we touched on a lot of the stuff, the key stuff in our community that definitely needed to be talked about and touched on. Like all y'all, honestly, I came to get a smoke today, but man, y'all was hitting a lot of the points I was thinking about. So man, flowers to y'all, man. Real shit. Everybody did a good job at articulating their thoughts.
Definitely. I think everybody had some real gems tonight. Like y'all was dropping trees and dropping mics, throwing shade and throwing facts. So gonna do a little bit of an outro. So my question is if, and I do this on every podcast, if y'all could see one person on this podcast about any topic at all, who would it be? But the catch is you gotta be able to help make it happen. Who want to go first?
I already told you I got you on Queen Jean. I got you on that one.
I need Queen Jean.
She already said yes, by the way. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes. For anybody that doesn't know, Queen Jean is a trans woman. She is an activist out of DC, and she is fierce. Okay. So I'm excited about that. But who's gonna go first?
Well, I went first, so
okay. Who's gonna go second?
The rest of the Negroes have to go.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I think in terms of intellectual discourse, there's I'm more than positive a plethora of people that I'm connected to that would probably want to come on. I would say in terms of viewership, posting some clips, because sometimes I think what happens is we look outside of our own audience when you have people that are powerful within your own audience that want to add something to the conversation and or that want to be a part of the conversation. So I always try to seek to go in before I go out. But I'm more than positive. The person I'm thinking about that comes to the forefront of my mind is Conscious. He's a very intelligent brother. I think we can all agree upon that.
Absolutely.
And that, I mean, I'm not sure what his pricing looks like. You know what I'm saying? I decided to do this for free. You know what I'm saying? Just because of, you know what I'm saying, my own personal reservations. And I just don't believe that everything is, you know, deserving of having to charge somebody. But again, if I'm going to do something for free, it's because I want to. And I've built up the platform enough so much so that I can do that. So I will definitely have a conversation with him. But again, you know, time schedules, things of that nature. So that's my advice to you. Your own community. I'm sure there are people within your audience that would love to come up on your platform and just shoot the shit with you. You know, intellectually, of course. So I would definitely encourage you, look inward first before you look outward.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually going to be messaging your wife as soon as we leave here because Black Women in a Box is next week, Tuesday.
Hey,
and I know Tasha got some shit to say about it.
Hey.
I would also love Conscious because, like you said, I think he is a very intelligent, intellectual person. And I think he could give us so much education, so much insight to a lot of the things, especially things like we discussed tonight. But yeah, and I definitely appreciate you coming on. It's fucking amazing. A year ago when I started following you, I definitely did not think this was going to happen. I'm not going to lie. Okay, that's my 30 seconds of fangirling. Anyhow, Tyler, Mert, what y'all got for me?
Two females that you definitely need to have on here. Ebony Expressions, she dope as hell, she fire, and Glam Melanin. Them two Black women that I follow, that they let the clip go every time. Every time. And I'll tell you, like, I mean, they just so real, man. They always have good feedback. They say things that make me think outside of my, you know, usual realm of thinking. So yeah, them definitely good women to have on your podcast.
Okay. And I co-sign that as well. Very intelligent sisters.
Yeah.
I'll have to text Eb and see if she want to come back on.
I didn't know she was on already.
Oh yeah, Eb was on my first episode and on another one.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, Eb actually kind of inspired me to grow the balls to even start doing this.
Oh, that's what's up. We need more of that. We need this.
She the shit.
Yeah. We need that.
Tyler.
Yeah, so who I can make happen. I have a good friend named Ness, who is, you know, part of the LGBTQ community. So if you got any upcoming, you know, podcasts around that topic of anything to do with that community, I think he would definitely be a great person to bring on here. So I'll talk to them and see if I can get him on here. But my boy Ness.
Ness is dope. Ness definitely got some good.
Yeah, definitely dope. Definitely dope. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Well, I want to thank y'all for coming on tonight. Everybody in the comments, thank you for staying respectful. I know this went a little longer than it usually does, but I think it was very important. And and I think it was very informative as well. I think we all learned a lot tonight. I definitely gained some insight into the perspective of Black men that I'm an outsider looking in. I did not know. My brain farted again. However, next week it is going to be Black Women in a Box. We are going to continue this conversation, and do not miss on Friday, we are going to interview the messy minister himself. So make sure y'all hit like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell so that way you get the post notifications. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. Everybody on the panel, hang out for a second after we get off. Just kind of, debrief or whatever. Love y'all. Don't be a dick.